everyone, it's Brandy. I'm from Brush by Brandy in Sacramento, California. I'm a furniture painter, and I'm also a Dixie Belle brand ambassador, and I'm here to show you guys how to achieve a blended look. The most questions I get on my painting page are about blending with paint, but you can honestly achieve a shaded look using different products. So I'm going to go through today and use some different products to show you how to get virtually the same effect. And then you can kind of compare side by side which product you think would be appropriate for your piece. So I have this piece here. You guys might remember this. I did the sister piece to this before. But I like the size of it. It's a great teaching piece. And then it's got a nice flat face. So we're going to do each of these 4 squares with a different technique. So I'm going to do, I'm not sure what order yet, but I'm going to do 1 blending with wax, 1 blending with glaze, 1 blending with Dixie dirt, and another blending with paint. So this cabinet right here has 2 coats of Dixie Belle Sandbar. Sandbar is a creamy beige kind of color. You can tell mine's been well used. So it has 2 coats of Sandbar, and then I coated it in Dixie Belle Gator hide. And I did that just using one of their application sponges. So dipping it in and then giving it a coat. So it's been clear coated. So that was how I prepared this piece for you guys today. So the 2 coats of paint, 1 coat of top coat, and then I'll go ahead and get started. So I'm a wax girl. I do a lot of wax work. I'm really comfortable working with wax. It's a nice malleable finish to work with. So I'm going to start with the wax, I think. So what I'm going to do, this has a clear finish on it, so I'm not going to use clear wax on this one. I have my Dixie Belle brown and black wax out. I'm going to use these 2. As I go through each step, I'll show you the products I'm using for that particular step. So right now we're just going to focus on the brown and the black waxes. So when I do, this is detail waxing.
So just wanted to say a couple of shout outs real quick. Amy says, love your pieces. Hi from Arizona.
Thank you, Amy. Hi.
Carol saying hi from St. Pete. And Cassie saying, oh my God, I finally found you. Hi, Brandy.
Cassie. Hi. I'm on the Dixie Belle page, not my own page. I hope people can find me. I'm going to share this to my own page after I'm done. Brush by Brandy. And then I'll also post my affiliate link on here. So if you want to order any of the supplies that you see me use, I'll post that on this comment thread. What else did I want to say? Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Come on and tell me where you're from. Ask any questions you want. My husband is here doing the camera for me. Sean, say hi, Sean.
Hi.
He's a good sport, and he helps me with everything. But let me know if you have any questions as I go, and he'll read the questions to me.
So Stephanie says hi.
Hi. Oh, hi, Stephanie.
Tammy's saying hi from San Diego.
Hi. Oh, we were
Pam from Nashville says hi.
Nice, all the way across the
Love to visit.
I hope you guys are having a beautiful weekend too. Beautiful holiday. It's gorgeous here in California. Okay, so I'm doing detail waxing. I'm not doing all over waxing. All over waxing is, a different technique than this. I'm just going to use my waxes for shading this time. So when I'm doing detail waxing, I use small brushes. Everything from artist brush size to, these are a few of my favorites, depending on what type of area I'm trying to get into. This is a fairly slim crevice, so I think I'm going to use this one here. This is just an Art Minds brush. Waverly also makes these really nicely, just from Walmart. And then these are just some slim artist brushes. So I'm going to take one. I don't ever wash these. I should. And I just dipped it into a little tiny bit of the black wax. I'm just going to outline this. I've done this on camera before on my own page, and I compare it to, for ladies, to putting on eyeliner. So this is going to be your eyeliner. I'm just outlining this little box right here. So if you put a little bit of that on, and then I'm going to take my brown wax. That was the black. I'm going to take the brown and just dip it ever so slightly onto my brush. There's barely anything on there.
Susan says hi from North Alabama. She recently used the drop cloth paint and loves it.
Yes, drop cloth is one of my favorites. I go through more drop cloth than most colors. So then I'm just taking this brush and I'm just blending that line that we just made. So I have the Gator hide on this, so it's a fairly slick surface, and so the wax just kind of slides around really easily. So we've got the black up in the crevice and then a little tiny bit of the brown wax on my brush. A couple other things I use when I'm waxing. Steel wool, a fine grade of steel wool. So anything down in from the 00 down is what you want for this. But this will take off. If you have too much wax, see areas here where I've gotten a little too much, it just, you know, buffs it out really nicely. Still leaves that little bit of a haze. You can also use a rag on areas that are getting too heavy. So I just want to go around this little door frame.
So Marlene wants to know, have you already cleared the wax first?
This has a clear coat of Gator hide on it. So I didn't clear wax. Clear wax would be another option. I just chose Gator hide on this particular piece. But yes, you want to do a clear coat first.
And Gina wants to know, how long after the Gator hide do you have to wait before waxing?
I Gator hide last night, so overnight I waited on this one. So I've got some kind of buildup right there. I'm not sure what that is. I'm just going to steel wool that down. I'm not sure what that buildup is. And I'm going back to my detail brush and just putting a little bit more of that black eyeliner on. And then I'm going to come in, and I think this is like the eyeshadow. So I'm just shadowing it. I'm just really smearing that black line that I just made and giving this box some shadowing. This is all just brown and black wax. I'm not doing it all over. All over can get a little heavy when you just want to add some shading and bring out some details. I'm not going all the way into the center. I want to keep my center fairly clean. I'm just doing around the edges. I'm going to do the corners darker. Coming back with my steel wool.
Lori's saying hi. She's a first-time user.
Hi, Lori. How do you like Dixie Belle? How's it working for you? Dixie Belle, I think, blends really well. I did a video the other day, and I think one of the best reasons is it has such a long open life. You can blend and play with it without really having to do much to it. It just, the paint itself stays open for so long. I'm adding a little bit more black. I just want to, you can keep layering this if you want it more dramatic, less dramatic. So I'm just adding a little bit more black. It's a very subtle look. This is, I'm just a very light hand going back and forth. I don't know, I can't see this on camera, you guys, so tell me what this looks like on camera.
Debbie says, Brandy, I love to watch you work. I love Dixie Belle also. Are you coming to the seminar? That's so funny because I like to watch you work too.
Yeah, my husband does sit out here sometimes and just watch me work. You know, I would love to go to the seminar. That's the one in Temecula, right? Is that Dixie Belle? No, that's not Dixie Belle. So I have a hard time being able to travel because I'm a stay-at-home mom. My kids are really young, and they're still in school. So it's really hard for me to be able to travel to some of these events. Number one, nothing ever comes to California. I don't know why. Doesn't everybody want to come to California? But nothing's ever in California. And then it's really hard for me to get out of the area because my kids are so young. So, I don't know. That's just one way. One product that you can use to get that very smooth blended effect. You can see I've been going over it with the steel wool.
People also want to know how this holds up in the cold weather. When you're painting or waxing.
Waxes. So your waxes can get kind of hard. I actually like hard wax for doing detail work. If you're going to put it all over your piece, you want a softer wax. You want it to spread easier. But when I want it to stay in just where I put it, I like my waxes hardened. So I actually have a really old can of wax that's, you know, this is a fairly newer one, but it's very hardened down to the bottom, and I love it for detailing with. So, you know, softer waxes for all over application, but I like the hard waxes, and the cold would contribute to that. So wax hardens when it gets cold, softens when it gets warmer. So I think it'd be great for this. So what should we do next? So that's one way just with wax. I'm going to show you. You guys want to play with some dirt? Dixie dirt. I'm fairly new to Dixie dirt, but I think dirt is so relevant right now because the whole powder glazing craze is going on right now, and all dirt is it's a powder glaze. So it's literally a fine powder. So you have to think of it when you're putting darkened shadows like this in, you're trying to replicate dirt. And so what more authentic way to do it than this would be the finger dirt that, you know, from years of use on the piece, it's supposed to look aged. And so dirt is a very authentic way of doing that.
Stephanie says she loves aging dust.
Yeah, same thing. Absolutely. I'm pretty new to Dixie dirt, but I think it's a really cool product. So for dirt, it's a powder, so you need something for it to stick into. So these are what you need together. Dixie Belle clear wax and the dirt. So this has the Gator hide on it. I'm going to apply a coat of clear wax on this right now. It's just my wax brush. I'm just brushing on a coat of clear wax. And this is just to give the dirt something to grab onto. It's going to stick into the wax. And then it will harden with your wax. You can get a nice coat on there because I'm going to really dirty this up.
Kayla wants to know, how do you buy it?
I'll post my affiliate link on the comment thread after we're done, but this is available through Dixie Belle. On the Dixie Belle website. So my affiliate link will take you guys there, and you can buy it through there, and they'll ship it to you. It comes right to your door. So for the dirt, I just put some clear wax on with my wax brush. I'm going to take, this is just a chip brush. I'm going to take my chip brush, just dip it into, it's just a fine dust. Dab it off there. I just have very little on there. And I'm going to put that into my crevice just like we did with the wax. I'm getting a little messy. I don't want this all over. I'm just really trying to accentuate the crevices that's sticking into my clear wax.
Kimberly saying hi from Knoxville.
Whoa.
Jenna saying beautiful work. She chimed in.
Thank you, guys.
Julie says excited to learn the different products. Thanks for doing this comparison.
So once you have the dirt on, you come back and wipe the areas that you don't want. It's just wiping back, like wiping back your clear wax that it's stuck into. It gives you a very authentic smudgy look. You know, what better way to get a dirty look than with dirt? I could wipe this back as much or as little as I wanted to, and it could be a layering process.
Stephanie, not if I don't tell her that there's over 300 viewers.
Oh yeah, don't tell me that. That'll make me nervous. I'm trying to not pay attention. No camera, right? Just painting. This makes me extremely nervous, guys. I'm trying to get more used to painting on camera. It's hard. Number one, I'm not sitting looking at my piece how I normally would, so I can't tell what this looks like on camera. Obviously, I'm not going to leave this with 4 different techniques in the boxes, so I'm going to have to go back and choose. We'll have to choose one. Which one do you think looks the best? Maybe I'll post that on my page. So I just added a little more clear wax because I want my dirt to stick a little better. And that would seal what I already have on there and then give me more ground to, for it to stick into. You could go all over with this. I'll show you all over.
Elaine wants to know, is the Boss and the sealer the same?
No, Boss is not a sealer. Boss is a stain blocker and an odor blocker. So Boss you would use to prep your piece. If you have stains for bleeding, it prevents bleeding. For woods like mahogany or knotty pine that might bleed through your paint. And then if you have odors, cigarette smoke and just musty odors that comes with old furniture, that's what you would use Boss for, but Boss is not a top coat.
And just to recap, Renee wants to know, she just tuned in and wants to know what the top one is.
Top one is wax. brown and black wax. So, and then I did some dirt on this. It's kind of uneven in spots, a little bit thicker in others. You know, I went across the center a little bit, so it's a little dirty across there. But you can kind of see, you know, look at my corners are, you know, it just has that built up dirt. It's very authentic looking. So it's just a very cool product. But you can see it's similar to what we achieved with the wax. So yeah, and I mean, exactly like I said, you could keep layering this if you wanted it to come out further from your crevices. You know, get into some of these edges along here. I'm just doing the drawer centers right now, but...
Kayla wants to know what you're wiping it off with.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just had an old t-shirt. This is just my old laundry becomes rags. This is my husband's old t-shirt. But they make great rags in the garage. And then I use fine steel wool as well. So steel wool can take back your wax once it starts setting up. If you see some areas that you got a little heavy, you can wipe those back. See what a nice smooth effect that gives? Look how just it almost looks velvety because it doesn't have any heavy spots. I can see spots right here where I just think I didn't get my top coat on well enough, and so it's sticking into the paint. That's my fault.
Eileen wants to know, is the dirt more of a black or a brown?
This one, so dirt comes in a few different colors. I have a couple out here, but you can get it in, this is charcoal, and it's a really dark graphite color. And then here's another example. This is called earth, and this is a really dark brown color. It has a little, almost a tinge of, I don't want to call it red dirt, but it's dirt. You know, it would look like dirt. So you could, here, I'll open this up. Let's put some brown in there too. I haven't used this one yet. Okay. Where's my wax? I'm going to add some clear wax just so it has something to stick into because it's probably starting to set up. And we'll add some of this is the brown. The combo of the two would be really pretty. You could do the black or the charcoal dirt in the deeper crevices and then come out to the brown. I actually really like this brown.
Joe says the top looks much more aged, natural than the bottom.
Yeah, you think so?
And Lynn wants to know where you're getting the dirt.
From my backyard. Just kidding. No, this is a Dixie Belle product. This is Dixie Dirt. So I'll post my affiliate link onto this thread after we're done. But this is a Dixie Belle paint product. It's literally a fine powder in the containers, and it's fantastic.
Tanya wants to know if the steel wool scratches the paint or the wood.
I have a clear coat on it, so no. And it's so fine. You don't want to use the harsh steel wool, but this is so fine that it really just I use fine steel wool for buffing my wax a lot. It just really takes down any raised areas, any nubs you might have. So don't get too high of a grade or it could scratch, but I'm just using a super fine steel wool. All right, I'm going to move to the other side of my piece, and we're going to play with some paint. Can you still see me?
Yes, ma'am.
This way.
There you go.
Okay. So next, I think I'm going to blend with some paint. We'll do this one up here with paint. So my base coat was sandbar. So I've got some of that out, and then I'm going to use a dark gray color. And I think I'm going to choose, I have Hurricane Gray and I have Gravel Road out. Let's try the Gravel Road. It's a little more dramatic.
So Lori wants to know if Dixie Belle sells the steel wool, and Bobby wants to know, are you a retailer now? And where are you located?
I am, let's see, as far as steel wool, I get steel wool at the hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, if you're in the States.
Do you have a preferred brand?
No. I don't. I think this is the only one that, maybe my husband can help me with this, but this is the only brand that our Home Depot carries. And I just like to stay in the fine end of it. But otherwise, it's you know, any of them are pretty much the same. So no, not a favorite brand. It's a fairly easy thing to buy, just a hardware store item. So I'm going to blend this with paint. Normally I would do this when my paint is already wet, but because we're doing this afterwards, I'm going to add a coat of my base coat to it, the base color. I'm going to spray with a little bit of water. And the two products I'm going to use for this are the Dixie Belle Sandbar, which is my base color, and then Dixie Belle Gravel Road. Okay, so this is my base coat. I did that with one brush. I'm going to take another clean brush and dip it into the gravel road. Just want the right amount. I just want to cover the tips of my brush. And I'm just going to outline the edges. Guys, it gets worse before it gets better, right? I know this looks like a train wreck right now. Might scare people. So I'm going to just outline the edges. Okay. I'm going to come back with my brush that has the sandbar in it. Keeping in mind I just put a light coat on the center of this, so my paint is a little bit wet. I'm going to brush these two together. I'm brushing over the top of the gravel road. Brushing it into the sandbar. I don't really want it around these edges here, so I'm going to take this back.
Hadley wants to know, why do you spray water?
It really is to just lubricate the surface a little bit. It just helps the paint glide a little bit better. Because I have already the top coat on here, I just wanted a light coat. But it's really just to, I usually spray my second coat, or before my second coat of paint, I'll spray my surface. And it's just to help my paint glide a little bit easier. I'm not trying to dilute it at all or thin it, just keep the surface wet. I'm coming back with the sandbar. Let me get this fuzz in there. I just want to lighten the center of this area right here. Ooh, I don't know, guys. This one might be my favorite. I really like this effect.
So Amy wants to know, she says she noticed you have a good assortment of quality brushes. How do you wash them or care for them?
You know, I wish I was a good quality brush girl. My brushes are, these are Wooster shortcut brushes. These are $5 at Home Depot. I've always painted with them. I like them. They give a nice finish. I have no complaints about them. I have nice brushes too, and they're beautiful, but I go through so many that it would be hard to maintain a collection of really nice brushes. So I paint with Wooster shortcut brushes. I try to keep, I have to keep rotating out and, you know, picking up newer ones. But how do I rinse them? I just rinse this under water, and I'll rinse it till the water runs clear. And then I take them and I set them in a shallow dish of water, just the tips, because the paint will continue to run out of the brush even after you've rinsed it and the water runs clear. There's still paint that gets up into the bristles. So the water will keep pulling the paint out even after you've cleaned it. So I sit them in a shallow dish of water overnight, and then I just let them air dry. And that's pretty much it. You know, these are just inexpensive chip brushes, and I use these for stains and stuff, and I can just throw them away. They're really disposable, you know, maybe $1 a piece. And then my wax brushes, I clean with Dawn dish soap and water. I don't clean them after every use, but they start getting a little hardened and gummed up, so I will clean them periodically just with Dawn dish soap and water. Yeah, so I'm going to keep lightening the center of this because I want to try to get back to my true color. So this is a little bit more of the sandbar. See how simple that was? I literally just outlined it and brushed them together. And now I can go back, and these edges that I didn't want to get that darker color on, I'm going to clean them up. That was a really simple way to achieve that effect. That was the fastest of the three, I think.
Kim says she cleans her brushes with Murphy's
oil soap. Yeah, Murphy's oil soap is a great option.
And another Kim is asking, where can she get the paint? She needs white.
Dixie Belle has a couple whites, Dixie Belle Cotton and Fluff. So this paint is, I'll post my affiliate link on here when we're done, but this is the Dixie Belle paint card. And this is available online too, but Cotton is probably the most white. Fluff is a little more creamy color, but both of them are, you know, they're truer versions of a white. I'm over here in Sandbar, which is kind of beigey. You can see it comes in over 60 colors. All of these are available on their website. They do ship to the US and Canada.
So we don't have voter tabs, but it seems number 3 is the best.
I like number 3 too. I'm with you guys. I like number 3 too. It's the smoothest, so that was blending with paint. All right, now we're going to try some glaze. So I'm going to get rid of these dirty brushes I just used for paint. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think my job on these is the best I could have done. And that's because I think my clear coat was a little thin down on the bottom on this. And so if you don't clear coat the paint, if the paint is raw, the waxes is going to stick into the paint heavier on those areas. So that's an error on my part. I would say this is truer to what a real wax blended look would look like versus the bottom where that error is. The dirt would be a more probably rough and rustic look, and then the paint is just a really smooth, refined look. If I move this cabinet here, can you guys see behind me? This is what I'm working on right now. That's a blended paint finish. So this is how this technique applies to a full body paint look. You can see how the drawer centers are lighter look.
I'm going to zoom in.
This is Dixie Belle. Same technique we just used, but the darker on this one is Dixie Belle Bunker Hill Blue, and then my light was Stormy Seas. So same technique where we just hit the centers, and then I came back and lightened the centers again with my body color. Same technique. So the last one I'm going to do with glaze, and I have Dixie Belle Black Glaze. People freak out about Dixie Belle Black Glaze because in the container it doesn't look like a true black, but it actually dries quite a bit darker than this. So when you see it go on.
So Stephanie says, I love this piece. I was just about to go to the garage and start sanding and painting, but I'm glued now.
Don't leave me, Stephanie. Hang on. I'm going to be painting after this too, I think. So now I'm going to go with the glaze. Dixie Belle Glaze is fairly thin. You can add paint to this if you want to darken it or thicken it. And glaze is kind of fun because can you see how it's gathering just in? Glaze finds your low spots for you. It's almost a liquid, like a thin pudding consistency. And it really gets into, you can see how it's gathered in this thin crevice right here. Although, Stephanie, you already know all this stuff. You should be teaching me. Seriously, girl. So, and then this, it's such a thin product, I'm going to come back and just wipe back where I don't want. So really this is just a t-shirt and a paintbrush. We're just going for that kind of age look around the edges. So I'm going to wipe it back to the edges. I'm going to come in and add a little bit more. Just kind of shade my corners a little bit. Bring that glaze out. I don't think I can compete with that paint. I should have done that one last because now everybody's going to look at that. Should we just do another one with the paint, guys, since that's the winner? I'm going to come back and paint these all.
Cassie says this is a great live tutorial. Love to see all the options.
Thank you, Cassie. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you guys for your support and coming on and watching these on your Sunday. Hope it's a lazy painting Sunday for everyone. So I'm just going back with a light hand and kind of darkening the corners on this. Yeah, I'm not lying, guys. I think I'm going to go back and paint all these. I really like this one here. That's my style. But you can imagine, so this is a flat front piece, but if your piece had detail on it, the paint probably wouldn't be as good of an option. I think I like it so much because it's just that flat front.
Bobby wants to know if you toss the blue sponges after you top coat.
Nope. I reuse them. These are super old. I have 2 of them, and I reuse them all the time. And just the 2 have been plenty for even as many pieces as I do. So where is my blue sponge? So once this has the top coat in it, they're water-based top coats. So I just rinse this under, it's like rinsing out your kitchen sponge. Squeeze it, get it wet, squeeze it, get it wet until the water runs clear, and then you can reuse these. So this is by no means new. You can see here it's pretty beaten up, but I reuse these. They have a long life. They're $3. So literally a piece like this you can top coat in 5 minutes with a sponge like this, and then Then what I'll do, if I need like 2 or 3 coats of top coat, I'll put these in a Ziploc bag and come back to it, and you can keep using it and rinse it out when I'm totally done top coating. My glaze is starting to set up.
Julia wants to know if you do anything first to the furniture before you put this on.
Yeah, so this, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is 2 coats of sandbar paint and a coat of Gator hide applied with a sponge. So 2 coats of sandbar and then the Gator hide is how I did this. Oh my gosh, I just picked up my paintbrush, not my glaze, sorry. So I just wet the glaze because I wanted it to stay open for a little bit longer. I just got my surface wet. Glaze is water-based, so it just opens the glaze back up so I can continue working with it. You can also thin your glaze out if you wanted to do an all-over application. That water keeps it nice and thin. You don't want it too heavy.
So Mary wants to know, do you wax when you're done? And if so, do you have any recommendations?
Yes, after you're done, it depends on what technique you use. So if you can't put a top coat, a clear top coat over the wax. You have to use wax over wax. Wax is last. That's a general rule, is wax is last. So if I was going to choose this finish, I would put a clear coat of wax over the whole thing. For the dirt, I would use a clear wax because we used wax in this too, remember? So with the wax finishes, you need to keep in the wax family. Over here, because we used paint on this one, I could choose another coat of Gator hide over this would protect that. It will need a top coat because otherwise this is raw paint that we just did. And the glaze too. I always top coat glaze as well. Robert
wants to know if you use the sponge to apply the Gator hide.
Yes. I have a video on my page of applying Gator hide with a sponge, but it's super easy. It literally takes 5 minutes. Guys, I'm not lying. I'm not liking the glaze. I'm going to go back and do this one with the paint. But you can see the effect that the glaze gives. It's just heavy in the corners. This would dry. It got into these crevices here, these finer crevices. But really, that's the winner for me. So this is the nice thing about this product. Like, I can just keep going back and reworking this paint until I have the look that I want. So glaze would be an option, but for me, you know, I can see in these crevices how it looks nice. It's a more subtle look, but I'm digging that paint. So I'm just going to show you guys another one. So we started with the sandbar. Put a clean coat on there.
Debbie wants to know if the paints are available in Canada.
Yes, Dixie Belle ships to Canada. Yes. Thank you guys for the questions too. I want to keep this interesting. I try to, think of ideas that might be helpful. So I hope this is helpful.
Janet wants to know sandbar and what?
The paint I'm using is sandbar and gravel road. It's a dark gray, charcoaly gray. So I just gave that a fresh coat of the sandbar. We'll just redo this again because I like this look. This is what I'm going to do on this piece. We outline the edges with the gravel road. I like working with the paints. These paints blend so well. I really enjoy blending paint. Okay, so we just outlined it. Looks scary, right? Now I'm going to come back with my sandbar brush. I'm just going to brush over it right over that transition. I don't want it down here on this. We did this up top too, but I'm going to wipe this back a little bit. It's just wet paint, so I'm just taking that back.
Melanie wants to know what kind of brushes you use, or what brand.
I use Wooster shortcut brushes. They're not expensive. They're available at the hardware store. They're about $5 a piece. I think they're nice and easy to hold. So that's just my personal preference. I've never had an issue. I think they give a really nice finish. So I'm coming back with a little bit of sandbar and cleaning up the center area.
Debbie says she loves your work.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for watching. These videos are always hard to do, for me anyways. I'm still learning. I think we're going to start doing some regular lives with Dixie Belle though, so hopefully that's something that's coming in the works.
So a few more questions. Karen wants to know where you can buy the Gator hide.
Gator hide is available through Dixie Belle as well. It's a Dixie Belle product, so again, I'll post my affiliate link on this thread after we're done, and everything's available through there.
And Dawn wants to know if you're using a light touch when you blend.
Yeah, so you might notice that when I'm going over the paint, it's not a full strength swipe with the brush. It is a very light hand when I'm going over the two. So here, I'll put that gravel road on again.
Sorry, I had to laugh because Cassie says she just saw your cute little wheeled stool. Where did you get that?
You guys want to know my
Oh,
secret?
man.
This
All right, here we go.
Yeah, this stool's been around for a while. It broke. It's supposed to be an automotive stool like this one my husband was sitting on. So picture an automotive stool. It broke. And so I got this new one, but when I went to work down low, I just took the seat. My husband took the post off for me, and I took the seat and put it all on there. So I suppose you could buy the regular automotive stool and just not assemble it properly, but that's what I'm sitting on. It's kind of funny. So it's just a really old broken stool that it works for me when I'm painting down low. I'm not sitting on the floor. Makes me mobile. So yes, I just use a very light touch when I'm blending that paint. And don't be afraid to brush over the top of it. I'm still using the same brush. My paint is starting to set up, so I'm just going to add some water. So it's my colors are mixing into each other, and that's okay. You don't want to have that clean, I showed this on my page yesterday, but I'm going to do it again. When people do this and call it done, but it's not. You want to brush those colors together. I shouldn't be able to see the clean transition between the two. If that's the look you're going for, just a highlight in the center, that's okay, but the paint's starting to set up. Yeah, see, it makes it even a cool color. This is the gravel road and the sandbar coming together. I don't want my whole piece too dark, so I'm coming back with some of my sandbar.
Melanie says she loves this stool. She definitely wants one.
Maybe I'll start marketing broken stools. I can break them myself and sell them. Not a problem. It works. It totally works. I'm comfortable sitting down here on the floor. Saves my back, too.
Debbie says she loves the blue one behind you. She wants to do that color.
Yeah, this is a custom order with the blended look in the navies. It's going to be really pretty when it's done. I'm almost done with that one. So, anyway, this is just a layering. This is going back and forth with the sandbar and the gravel road. Clean that up a little bit. So the glaze wasn't working for me, so we did two in this blended finish. I feel like this one needs to be darker or lighter to match the top. I'm looking at this kind of sideways, so I can't tell what it looks like on camera. I'm sure I'm going to go back and watch this and be like, what was I thinking?
Mandy wants to know, is it difficult trying to get every drawer to look like the other?
Yeah, it does take some back and forth. And one thing I would recommend for that is don't stop and try to come back to it later, because your hand changes. So you'll come back with a heavier hand or a lighter hand. So just do them all at one time when they're all wet together, and you can really compare and get a similar look. But
Kim wants to know, where are the kiddos?
I don't know. I hope you do, Kim. I thought they were with you. No, they're inside watching shows. I heard them in the backyard a few minutes ago. I think they're inside watching cartoons now. They just know that this is part of what we do.
Or the house is burning down.
Yeah.
But we're in the garage.
We don't smell smoke yet, so we're not too far from them. They just know this is what we do. So my husband came in earlier. Can I tell this joke? Probably off-color joke, but and said, I just told the kids that Mommy and Daddy are going in the garage and making a video, and I feel guilty. I won't go into that any further. I'll let your imagination run. But they just know this is something that we do. And so they know they can come stand at the door and watch if they want, but otherwise we just come out here and paint. So these are kind of our looks. Like I said, I like the paint. It's a winner for me. But I do a lot of detail waxing. So for example, this piece, the blue piece behind me, you guys want to wax a drawer together? I'm going to add some dark waxes to this.
Kay's asking, how would you blend 3 colors?
Okay, I have a video of that on my page, and I do, I don't have a third color I can throw in with this. Yeah, but I would do the dark, and then come slightly in, and add a middle color, and then I would hit just this stripe in the center with the light. So I would just come with whatever your medium color is going to be, come out further with it.
Melissa wants to know if Dixie Belle is self-leveling.
Dixie Belle's not considered a self-leveling paint, although it levels really nicely. It is a chalk mineral paint. It doesn't have the built-in top coat. I'm sorry, it does have the built-in top coat, but it's not considered a self-leveling paint. It does have a chalk mineral base. So, stuck my finger in that. So I would just bring my medium color out further into the light. And I would just hit this very center portion right here with the light, with my light color, if I was using 3. I hope that helps a little bit. So this one is a blended look behind me. I'll go ahead and this is what I'm going to do today. But I'm going to add some dark waxes to it. So just like we did that wax drawer, but I'll show it to you over a painted piece too. I'm going to grab my brown and black wax. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I've got it here and I'm going to do it today. So I'll just show you, I'll just do this door with you guys. So just like I did before, I'm going to take the black wax and a thin artist brush, and I'm just going to outline this. Sorry, this is going a little long. I'll just do this one door and then we'll get off. You're going to see how it's very subtle, but it makes that extra little difference. So I just outlined the edges of it in black, just going back with some brown. And I'm just going to add some shading, and it just darkens around the edge of that door.
Debbie from Calhoun, Georgia says she loves Dixie Belle. I'm going to zoom into this since it's such a dark
Yeah, it
difference.
is really dark, and this is a really subtle effect. I think once I do this, you'll be able to compare it to the one right next to it and really see how even just a subtle shading of the wax along this darker paint color just makes it so much more dramatic. I'm adding a little bit of black. I like the black against this blue a little better than the brown. Okay, so if you back up, can you guys tell the difference between this door and this door? It's really subtle, but I just added some black wax right around the edges, and it just emphasized that shading a little bit. Just a very light hand. I'm kind of painting with wax a little bit. So anyway, you can see it just deepened the colors around the edges. So that's what I'm going to do with this piece. It's going to get even more dramatic than it is now. So anyway, I hope that was somewhat helpful, you guys.
Really quick,
yeah?
Do you poly over the wax or just clear wax over the doors?
You don't want to poly over wax. Wax is last. So if you're going to use wax, you can clear coat over wax, but don't put a poly over it.
And Eileen wants to know, did you wax the blue piece first before doing this?
The blue piece also has a coat of Gator hide over it. So I love wax, but I've been tending to put a coat of Gator hide and then doing the wax work over it. And then I've got the protection of a Gator hide and the look of a wax.
And Judy wants to know, she just joined, is the wax from Dixie Belle?
Yes, all my waxes are from Dixie Belle. So I was using Dixie Belle brown and black wax just there. We used Dixie Belle clear wax with the dirt and the, no, I didn't use clear on that. I used a clear wax with putting the dirt on. So I hope that was helpful. We got some kind of different looks here. I could see all of them having a great purpose depending on what your piece looked like. For me, on this piece, I really like the blended paint. But I could see those being really pretty depending on what your piece is. Like when I'm doing the black wax on here, it's going to be really pretty.
Amanda wants to know what Gatorade is.
Oh, Gatorade is a clear liquid top coat. So you see that? It's like a polyacrylic. I wipe it on. I won't do it right now because this piece has wet stuff on it, but I literally take their application sponge, dip it in here. Maybe I'll do this side right here. I dip it in here. Wipe the excess off because I really just want a thin layer on the sponge. And then you just wipe it onto your piece. That's a top coat. This is a water resistant top coat, so it really gives your paint a lot of protection. If it's going to be a heavily used piece, for example, a dining table or something, this is a great top coat option. So, you guys see how fast I just did that side with Gator hide? I just top coated that. So imagine doing this whole piece, it might take you 5 minutes. And then I let that dry overnight, and then I would come back and do my detail waxing. Like here, I just Gator hided this last night, and then I'm going to detail wax it today.
So Claudia says, working on a coral color, would you use brown or black wax to deepen?
I like black wax on everything. Black is my favorite. It's the most dramatic. Sometimes I usually combine the two in some effect, but black is absolutely my favorite. It's the most dramatic. It just deepens your color so much more. So.
And Suzy says she wished they got the products in the UK.
I know, Suzy. I know Dixie Belle's working on it, so we're hoping to get to the UK. I know they're looking for retailers that are interested in carrying the line. So it's, let's hope it's coming. I know they're working on it, though.
And lastly, when you're putting on Gator hide, how many coats?
I usually will do 2 or 3 on the body. If I'm doing a top, like this is a wood top, I'll usually do 5 or 6 thin coats. That sounds crazy, but imagine if I'm just clear coating it with the sponge, 5 minutes there. I'll put it in the Ziploc, come back, a couple hours later, another 5 minutes. So it sounds crazy, but if I do it over the course of the day, just coming back to it every so often, it really takes minimal time. So I usually do 5 or 6 on the top. So anyways, I'll let you guys go and get back to your Sunday. I hope that was a helpful video getting familiar with some new products. I'm going to post a link, my affiliate link on this thread, and I'll also go back and answer any questions you guys may have if you're catching this on replay. So thanks, guys. Again, my page is Brush by Brandy, so come on and give me a like if you guys liked what you saw. We do a lot of painting. I do a lot of live tutorials on there. So there's a lot on there too. So come like my page at Brush by Brandy on Facebook. Thank you.